Good morning and welcome back to Just Keep Spinning, where we talk all things music. Before we begin today, I'd love to ask you to subscribe if you haven't done so. Hit that like button, turn on the notification bell so when you see I have new content, you can check it out. So today I want to talk about cover songs. We all have bands that we love, and sometimes they go outside of their own comfort zone, or maybe they're comfortable with it, and they play songs from other bands that have been inspirational to them, or that have inspired them to maybe write music that we wouldn't have otherwise. For me this morning, I was listening to an album and I just visualized in my mind what a particular artist would sound like doing that song, and I'll talk about that a little later. I've never been one that's been huge on covers, although I think the part that really I do enjoy is the fact that I want to see an artist's take on it. Do they stay true to the song, or do they go completely outside and recreate a song in their own way, give it their own spin? For me, I think what's important about a cover is I do want to hear that very unique take on that song or that album, because in some cases bands have done full albums. I mean, look, Primus is out right now on tour and they're covering the whole Farewell to Kings by Rush album. So far the reviews have come in that it's very unique and fun, and it's a great tribute to that band. R.I.P. Neil Peart. But hey, I want to show you guys a few albums that contain covers, because look, as much as I want to hate them, in some cases I love them. The first one I'll talk about is Dream Theater. Now, for anybody who knows me, Dream Theater is my favorite band, and they're no strangers to cover tracks. In this case, this album happened on the 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence tour when they did a secondary set every night, and they covered Master of Puppets by Metallica. Now, I'm not going to tell you this is my favorite Dream Theater album, and it's certainly not my favorite set of cover tunes by them. Sure, it's cool, but here's my beef with this album. When I think of Master of Puppets, I think James Hetfield, and I think about that grit and gravel in his voice and that just presence and pissed off attitude. Well, look, the band is firing on all cylinders on this album. They pull this off like pros. No shit, really. You say, well, these guys are masters of their instruments and they certainly know how to kick some ass. But James LaBrie is a vocalist who I would never in my lifetime imagine covering Metallica. Is it cool? Yeah, sure, it's cool, but there are certain points that are very cringeworthy for me where I go, oh my god, man, they should have brought in guest vocalists to kick some ass on this, But either way, a very cool listen. Well, I don't know if you can see it, so I'm going to grab it. Weezer, the Teal album. These are the last guys I would ever picture covering some of the shit they do on here, including Black Sabbath, but I can tell you, I think this album fires on all cylinders, and these guys do a killer job, man. Them doing Toto, great. Them doing, hold on for a second, let me pull this out because I'm going to totally space what they did, and you guys are all going to go, what a moron. Let's see. Paranoid. Just totally trippy, but Mr. Blue Sky, their cover of ELO, just point, spot on, awesome, love it. I love Jeff Lynne, but I can tell you, Mr. Como's in this case did a killer job with the vocals. They paid great tribute to it. The two I still, and they did a good job, but the two I really struggle with are Billie Jean and No Scrubs by TLC. Just weird for me. Strangely okay to listen to, but certainly not my favorite tracks on that album. Next up, I want to point out, Nirvana. They cover David Bowie, the man who sold the world, and I think Kurt really found the emotional connection to that song, and it worked. And they also covered Where Did You Sleep Last Night? I think Kurt had a way of making songs his own and delivering them in the most emotional way possible. And being that this is unplugged acoustic, I think it kind of resonated a bit more with me. Killer album, though, as we all know. Unplugged is a solid listen from beginning to end. Great track list. I love it. The last one I'm going to show you, we all know Van Halen. No big secret. They're like hard rock masters of their time. Rest in peace, Eddie. Eddie is just badass, and there's no reason to really talk about that. But let's take the song You Really Got Me by the Kinks. Should it work? Well, you go back to the original Kinks one, and it was kind of jangly and poppy and fun. These guys gave it a kick in the ass and cranked it up to 11. Thanks Spinal Tap for that, by the way. Or Ice Cream Man, an old blues standard. But they pulled that one off too. And Dave, of course, back in the day, all swagger and, really brought his own thing to it. That sense of party. So what was the album, what was the song that really inspired me to want to talk about cover songs or cover albums? I was doing house chores and I cranked up Metal by Pink Floyd. I got to the song Fearless. Now that's probably one of my favorite tracks on that album. Some about the chord progressions just really grabs me, pulls me in, and I absolutely love it. But I thought of Jerry Cantrell. I don't know why. Maybe it's the layered vocals. But I would love to see Jerry cover that and give it his own spin. I think when you look at Jerry's solo stuff, it has a tendency to come outside of that Alice in Chains realm. Nothing wrong with that. But I remember an old conversation with Jerry where we were talking cover tunes one night. Because I know the Screaming Trees used to throw in some shit. And of course by bands I had no clue existed. And Jerry said, well, if you want to be a cover band, then go play bars. But if you want to be in a real band, go create your own substance and, throw it out there. So I'm not really familiar with Alice in Chains or Jerry Cantrell in this case doing cover tracks. And I could be very, very wrong. I've only seen Jerry on a solo tour once. And of course, for those of you who have seen him on his new tour, you know that Jerry is just a stunning musician with a sense of emotion and style. And of course, right now with this tour, he brought in other vocalists. He brought in Greg Puciato, I think it's pronounced. And if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. Feel free. I'm not going to take it personal. But Greg being the singer from Dillinger Escape Plan, I couldn't have imagined him stepping up when they're doing, like Alice in Chains sings, when they're doing their covers of, shit Jerry wrote. But I would love, and if anybody out there knows how to get a hold of Jerry and talk to him, hey, suggest the song Fearless. And for those of you who haven't listened to it, if you have the CD, if you have the album, pop it on and listen to that song and just imagine Jerry vocally taking that one on, or his style of maybe acoustic slide or something. How cool that could be. Because I picture it. I really do. I went back and listened to it 2 more times after it played through and went, man, this song is so fucking cool. I would love to personally see a lot of bands play certain things. Like, I'll go back to Dream Theater for a moment. They fully covered Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden, and I love their take on that album, and I've got that one coming in the pipeline. It's from their Lost Not Forgotten archives. They also covered Dark Side of the Moon, and I cannot say enough about that. That is just one of the most fantastic performances that anybody could have asked for, and I think where James LaBrie as a vocalist is concerned, that fell more into his vocal range and fit comfortably for him. So it felt natural, like it was like meant to be. Now, they didn't deviate at all from Pink Floyd's, uh, you know, I don't even know how the fuck to say it. Sorry. I'm a little, the way they composed that, they stuck directly to that. They even brought out a woman who's worked with them before, Teresa Thompson, who was on Scenes from a Memory, and she came in and did the female vocal and slayed that shit. For any of you who can get your hands on it, check it out. There is not a disappointing moment. Or go to Spotify. I know it's there. From what I know, it's already there. If it's not, check it off so when it drops you can check it out. And for those of you who buy vinyl, it comes with a CD. So if you're into vinyl, you're into turntables, and you're into music like I am, I can tell you it's worth every penny that you would pay for that album. It's still available. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it at Century Media. But killer shit, man. And Number of the Beast, same thing. If you're a Maiden fan, their version is cool, and here's why. Not that I intended this to be a Dream Theater video, but when we're talking covers, as we all know, Iron Maiden is a 2-guitar band. Well, 3 now, but 2 initially. Jordan Rudess, a keyboard player from Dream Theater, takes on the other guitar parts, including sometimes solos, rhythm guitar, and there were times I had to really listen hard to hear it. Dream Theater is also covered live in Japan by Deep Purple, and I don't know if they have any intention of releasing that or when. But, look, we all know bands who have done covers. I'd love to hear your take on it. How do you feel about bands doing covers? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Are there certain cover albums where you were completely turned off? And P.S., I'm going to start saving my pennies, and if anybody out there knows of a really solid copy of Kiss My Ass, a Kiss tribute, I am certainly interested. So until next time, thanks for coming by and hanging out with me for a little bit. And thanks for being part of my journey musically. Until next time, just keep spinning.